Hello, everybody. Welcome. I have with me Arun Kumar.
Hi, I'm Arun. I'm the digital marketing lead for Carousell. As the head of digital marketing, I'm responsible for user acquisition and retention and all the functions that fall under it.
Excellent. We're in Singapore, coming to you somewhat live. Tell us about what Carousell is for those of the American folk who don't know.
Sure. Carousell is basically a mobile-first classifieds app. We started off in 2012 to answer the problem of how do you list an item very easily on your mobile phone, because back in the day people would be going to like Craigslist type of platforms, the forums where you have to take a picture on a camera, use your SDK card, plug it into a thumb drive, and upload it into your desktop. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then list your item on the forum and then wait for the chat to happen on the forum.
Wow.
So the idea was basically to condense this whole thing into just one small journey, and our original value proposition was snap, list, sell in 30 seconds. And today we're trying to shorten that 30 seconds to 3 seconds using multiple ways, including a better flow, machine learning, and AI to speed up these things.
So did you start with one category or did you jump into multiple products?
I think, take Singapore for example. In 2012, when our founders first started off, we had zero budgets. We actually, up until 2014, we deployed maybe like $10,000 at most. 2 years into it.
Wow.
And by that time, we were number one on both the App Store and the Play Store. And this was because we were answering a problem that no one else in the market had a solution for. And actually, we built up this user base mainly by targeting a niche population, students. They are the ones who are cash strapped. They want to be spending on things, but they don't have the money for it. You know, textbooks in universities are so expensive. And what do you do when you've finished that course? You want a place to go and sell it. So we targeted students, and that's where they came to, which was Carousell, to come and sell their books, their textbooks, right? And then later on, they started selling other stuff, fashion, gadgets, and then slowly cross-pollinates across multiple categories. And then you see that when people actually start selling their items successfully, it becomes a dinner table conversation. So people sit at the table, they're having dinner with their family, and they start telling their family members about how they were successful in selling something and getting some money
and
back,
that kind of gets the viral aspect
exactly.
of it going.
Then your mom starts going on it, your dad starts going on it.
Nice.
So right now in Singapore, we have 1 in 4 devices with Carousell on it.
So how many, what's the number? How many devices are we talking about? Tens of millions?
Singapore's not that big.
Yeah.
But we are across the region. We're not just in Singapore. We're also in Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Philippines, and Australia.
Wow. So the whole Asia Pacific area.
Yeah.
So, but you started with, sounds like one or a few small categories, but now when you go to the site, it's like a whole bunch of categories.
Exactly. And we have got 100 million listings across the region and in 19 cities.
Wow.
So, and that's in the last 5 years, and it continues to grow.
Wow, amazing. So, you have a different strategy with respect to monetization, because there are only a couple categories that you actually monetize in.
It's not just the categories that we are monetizing. I think we are not trying to reimagine the way monetization in classifieds happen. We are trying to reimagine the experience for the users and making it as user-friendly as possible. But when it comes to monetization, we are still going the normal route. You know, if you take the traditional classifieds, which is a newspaper, right? What do you have? All these big advertisers, brand advertisers will go on there and buy a whole page out in the classifieds page. So similar to that, in the digital space, we are selling our ads programmatically. We have media sales and partnerships that allow brands to come and have build campaigns onto our platform, right? And the third one would be when we have internal products, so visibility products. How do we help our C2C sellers sell their items faster and successfully? And of course, some of these guys are going to be enterprising, right? They're going to, buy stuff in bulk when they're on holiday in somewhere and come back and sell in Singapore, where the demand for the item is going to be high. So it's also for the enterprising guys. And then naturally, when we have amassed a huge number of users in Singapore or any other market for that matter, merchants will start coming onto the platform because they see it as
Sure.
a place to get visibility for their items.
Sure.
And they will become users of the visibility products.
But you primarily monetize the B2C aspect
Exactly.
versus the C2C aspect. of it.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So we have the first three are, so just to recount,
Yep.
ads, media sales and partnerships, and visibility products, right? Like bumping your items to the top. And the last one would be monetization in our verticals. This is where we try to build closer partnerships with, property agents and car dealerships, secondhand car dealerships, wherein the car dealerships and the property agents will buy packages. On our platform, you need to buy coins to actually list items in the vertical categories. And what that means is that, if you buy bigger packages, obviously you'll get some discount out of it. But then also by buying these packages, you would get access to visibility products at a cheaper cost. So this is one way for our vertical guys to actually
Extend their exposure. So what kind of unique challenges exist, both from the breadth of products, but also from the geographic expansion?
So, it all comes to how we grow a market. I think we grew really organically in Singapore, like I said, because we started at a time when, there's not much solutions out there that was answering this problem.
Yeah.
But if you look at the more recent markets like Malaysia, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Philippines, and Australia, there are already incumbents there. And the value that we bring to the users is what's going to convert more of these users to use our platform. So actually, what that means is that we have to make these people hit their magic moment faster. And what that means is, are they successfully selling their items? And how fast are they successfully selling their items?
So talk about that, the idea of a magic moment, and like how do you quantify that? Do you drive towards that in terms of your engagement strategy?
For sure. So we use CRM for that,
Yeah.
but then also when it comes to user acquisition, which is the first step, right? We want to target the right people, and especially when we are launching in new markets, we start off with a group of categories, and it's usually around the lifestyle categories. Once we've gotten these users to start listing items in the lifestyle category, we try to make sure that, when they are listing the items, the right items, priced properly, are the images good? And we use CRM to sort of guide them through this process, because if they don't receive this guidance, they don't know what they will be doing. And then this is going to guide them towards, successfully selling their item as well. And the moment they've successfully sold their item, they're going to want to relist again.
So is the magic moment about getting them to sell multiple items, to sell multiple times, to sell in multiple categories?
To actually just experience the magic moment for the first time.
Oh, really?
That is the goal for us, right?
Interesting.
Because the moment they have experienced it, what's to stop them from listing more and more and more?
Gotcha.
And then what happens in the next stage of our CRM lifecycle campaigns would be, after we've guided them through hitting the magic moment, is to just continue to engage them, to buy more and sell more.
Yeah.
In Singapore, for example, a huge percentage of our users are buyers and sellers. In markets outside of Singapore, we're not quite at that level yet.
And what is that a function of? Because obviously that symbiotic, having somebody buy and sell, I imagine is nirvana for
For
classifying.
sure, because that helps us achieve liquidity,
Sure.
right? And the other challenge when it comes to a marketplace like ours is we need the density of buyers and sellers
in the same geographic area.
Exactly, in the same city, because if there's no supply and demand within that city, you're not going to get good sell-through rates or conversion rates for every category that the items are being listed in. And then if they're not being sold fast enough, then they become stale, right? And then there's no, it doesn't sustain itself, and then you're actually failing. So you have to keep making sure that you're hitting the right balance and moving the conversion rates up. So internally, we've got health metrics that we look at across the categories within a city, just to understand if it's able to sustain itself. So we'll continue pushing hard until it's able to sustain itself. And that's when we will maybe say that we don't need to spend too much there anymore. It's actually going to survive well on its own, and all we need to do is use CRM.
Yeah, so what is that level of sustainability? Is that a function of number of products sold? Is that a function of buyers and sellers?
Yeah.
Is there a series of ratios that you're looking at?
It's actually a series of ratios. So we look at the demographic itself, the composition of it. So what percentage of our target demographic within that city is actually using it?
Oh,
We use Singapore as a benchmark for it. And Singapore and Hong Kong is very similar because it's, densely populated, it's quite close. So we don't quite see the same challenges as we would in, say, Indonesia, Malaysia, or Philippines, where people are more sparsely populated, right? And we are starting to realize that, you probably have to adjust the numbers a bit for those markets just to hit the same level of liquidity that we see in Hong Kong or Singapore. So that is at the first level, looking at the census reports, right?
Yeah, wow.
The population.
So literally targeting off the
Exactly.
size of the population.
Yeah. And then the next step is to actually understand like how many new listings are they generating per week within every category, understanding the sell-through rates within each category, and then calculating, at what level do we need to be to actually sustain this. After a while, we would see that, she pulling back some of the spends means that this actually is able to sustain it on its own, like I said. And that's
So you're using advertising dollars to go and generate higher pull through either in certain geos or certain categories to reach sustainability.
Yeah, most of our paid marketing spends, which is actually not a lot, we're really efficient about it. Actually, January this year, we discovered that we're spending 1/5 of what we were spending last quarter, January of last year, to get the same number of sellers. So our efficiency just improved by a fivefold, basically.
Yeah, and what I would assume that's kind of one of the advantages of being a marketplace, right?
Yeah.
Is you get the flywheel spinning, and now all of a sudden it's self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Interesting. So talk about how community plays a role in that, because obviously you talk about being at the dinner table and mom and dad get interested in what you're doing. One, community, and two, you mentioned demographic. Do you have a very targeted demographic, or are you speaking to different age folks?
So it depends on the maturity of the market. If you talk about Singapore, when we first started off, it was just the younger millennials, maybe 16 or 18 all through the way till 25, right? Anyone who's in university or just starting to work. And right now, if you look at it, there are senior citizens or slightly older people who are on our platform as well. There's a story about a 60-year-old postman who found an e-bike on Carousell.
Nice.
So there are stories like this that come up that always intrigues us. Like, how did this person actually found it, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be through word of mouth.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's not going out and reading up tech articles every day.
Yeah.
When you talk about newer markets, it's more of we again target the younger guys first, and then slowly you see that the older age group starts coming on, and then when we see these guys actually transacting or listing more, that's maybe when we start expanding our targeting there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what does the future look like for Carousell?
The future is to first solidify our presence in the markets that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And then we will think about more.
Yeah, come to the US?
Most likely not. I mean, there's a tough competition there, right?
Yeah.
I think there are guys who've started off and then now you don't hear about them anymore.
Yeah.
OfferUp is really great there. People still use Craigslist.
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace is, launching in quite a big way over there. So I think I don't think it's a fight. It's a battle that we want to fight over there.
Yeah.
I think the money's well spent.
Well, hey, you guys are crushing it in Asia Pacific, so
We hope so.
that's a big market. All right, man, thanks. Appreciate it.